So to have your paint go from this to this, I'm going to show you here step by step in order to do that with the paint correction. Stay tuned.
What's going on, everybody? So today we got my car here that I use for detailing, which is where I used to go to customer's house. I got everything inside. So today we're gonna be doing a paint correction on my car. We got a lot of scratches, a lot of swirl marks. I'll be sure to show you guys what we're working with. So you always want to start off by going ahead and washing and drying the car properly. And then what you want to do is you want to use an iron decontamination. Today I'm going to use Turtle Wax, their rapid decon solution. You can use PNS iron remover. There's a bunch of different products which you can use. So what you want to do is you want to put it in a pump sprayer, pump it up, or you can put it in a hand bottle, whatever you prefer. And you just want to lightly just, let me turn the nozzle. Just mist over the vehicle. Be sure not to let it dry because, it's kind of windy for me, so it may dry a little bit. Try not to let it dry because it takes time to remove all the iron and all the fallout from your vehicle. So you guys want to make sure that you guys rinse down the vehicle properly. You want to make sure that you take your time. So what you want to do is you want to take a nice piece of clay bar. You want to flatten it out, try to get as much surface tension as possible. Let me take the... It sticks to latex. So you want to go try to stretch it out. What you want to do is wet down the clay bar really good. Wet down the area that you're going to be clay bar. So what you want to do when you use a good piece, you just go ahead and take it, fold it inwards, squeeze it, and you're ready to do another part. I'm gonna go ahead and do the whole vehicle, come back when we're ready for the paint correction. So what you want to do after you finish clay barring, the lubricant might dry on the paint. So you just want to go ahead and just take a wet towel or a microfiber mitt with a little bit of soap, and then just go ahead and proceed to wash it. So now that the paint completely washed off, go ahead and dry it off, and then I'll show you guys the steps for whenever you go and start doing the paint correction. So for everyone just not tuning in, man, what's up? How y'all feeling today? Up on the floor. I'm gonna do some nice pea-sized drops. I am recording this, by the way, so if you guys hear me talk to the camera or on Facebook Live, what do we do? we're doing. Make sure you get the cord wrapped around your body, because you do not want the cord scratching with your hard work already did. Extreme V32 from Chemical Guys. It's gonna be a lot stronger of abrasive when it comes to paint correction. Compound out here. Might have put a little too much, but you can never honestly put too much on here. Listen here, Bert. Come on now, man. I literally just finished cleaning my car. Better going on somewhere. Now afterwards, we are going to go ahead with a surface prep, removes polish, removes oils afterwards, because you will notice that you are like streaking a little bit as you're taking it off, and so you just go ahead, continue to buff everything off. One thing you want to remember is that not every single scratch is going to come off. Some are embedded into the paint, some are too deep, but this is primarily just getting back to that showroom look. Get the majority of scratches out, and that way you'll be good at it. I am going to do a small touch-up spot over here because I don't like the way that it looks. Not a lot, because again, this is just a touch-up spot. Make sure always have a cord wrapped around you. Just keep it on there. You don't want all that dust flicking off or polish flicking into your face. Go ahead and take that off. Oh yeah, much better. Like I just got my car painted. So this side has significantly less than this side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this side with the heavier compound. You don't really want to try to continue to hit certain spots too much, and then you risk burning through the paint and clear coat, which is something that you don't want to do. So you're gonna do a little step over the camera this way.
So as you see here, we have the polisher at about a 1.5 to a 2 on like a Adams or a Rupes polisher. For Chemical Guys, it'll be around a 1,500 to 2,000 RPMs. And what you'll do is you just do that. That way you can spread the product out. You don't want it to just sit in one spot and then you begin polishing at max speed, because then you risk it all flinging everywhere and then you get terrible coverage. So what you want to do is you just want to go ahead, go slow. Start off at 15 to 2,000 RPMs or 1.5 and 2. Spread the polish, and then you can go ahead and crank it up between a 4.5 to a 5, which is the ideal speed for polishing paint. Again, make sure you do nice and slow passes. Have each pass overlap the other by at least half. That way, if you guys have even coverage, you never know if you may miss a spot, but you don't want to hold the polish in one spot. If you hold the polish in one spot, then it will cause it to burn through the paint, because these things, they create a lot of heat and a lot of friction. So you want to kind of move at a slow pace, but not stick in the same spot too much. And so what you see I put more polish on here as I'm about to move on to the door, because this polish, it is great, or this compound rather, is great for you being able to just leave it as it is. It wasn't a hot day today, probably like 52 degrees. So I wasn't really worried about it drying up. And if it do, it makes it honestly a lot easier to remove if it does dry up a little bit, but you don't want to dry up too much, because then you risk it burning into the paint if it's like 80, 90 degrees outside in broad daylight. But for me, it was super windy today. So I really had the wind working against me, especially when it came to iron removing, as you seen in the earlier part of the video. But you see here, again, just I'm overlapping each pass. Spread the product out nice and evenly along the whole door. You don't want to just put it on top of the panel that you're working on and literally just start to polish it, because it's going to fling everywhere, make a mess, get some in your eye, and you don't want to miss that. And so, again, nice, concise passes, overlap each and every single one of them on the next pass, and then let the polisher do the work for you. It's a little tricky doing it from the side panels. Just make sure you just have it in your palm on both hands and lightly press it against the car. You won't want to press too hard, because then it will create friction and heat, and that also risks burning to the paint. So this is like a lot of things you just want to be mindful of. The pattern that you see me doing right here, it is a cross hatch. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing up and down and then left and right on each pass. That way you get work the polisher in at all different angles to get those swirls and scratches out of the paint. Compound and polishing is also very good for removing watermarks, tree sap that's burned into the paint. Hopefully it didn't burn through too much, and you got to get your clear coat and get a retouch of the paint. A lot of times the polisher should be able to fix a lot of those issues. As you guys see here, a lot of the dust, that's very common with certain compounds you use, compounds and polishes. Mainly with the compound, because it has a lot of additives in it, which helps you. It's like abrasives added to the compound. It's like a rougher polish. That's what helps you cut into the clear coat and clean it up. So all the dust you see is just a leftover, dried up compound that flakes off. So if you guys see it, it's totally normal. Don't freak out. Your paint's not going to get messed up. It's not your clear coat being peeled off, nothing like that. But just make sure that, again, each pass overlapping by 50%. Crosshatch, up, down, along the whole panel, right, side to side. If you want, you can do a 2 by 2 is what I recommend. On each panel, you can do it with painter's tape, mark it off. Or the better you get, you can do the whole door, but you still want to take your time with it. You don't want to rush it. It's nothing that you want to rush. That way you ensure you have full coverage of the paint. You hit every single area that you need to. After you finish with your compound, you just want to go ahead and take a very soft plush microfiber towel. I believe this may be like a 1200 GSM. Or you can just search up polishing towels. It is tagless and seamless. You do not want any tags or any seams, or all the hard work that you just put in will be for nothing. And trust me, you don't want to do that, because then you have to go back and re-hit that part, and you already spent hours doing it. And so try to find something that's tagless and seamless. I got these from my local detail shop. And then you just want to go ahead and remove all the polish off. That way you can go ahead and get ready for the next panel. Again here, back door on the passenger side, same exact thing. You see I put the compound onto the pad, and then I am patting it onto the door. And so what that does, it helps to spread out the compound. Make sure you got even, nice coverage whenever you're going over it. That, because again, you don't want it to just literally put it all in one spot on the polisher. I put more on there because I'm going to do the whole door instead of the 2x2. You can do either or, whatever you're comfortable with. I recommend starting off at the with a 2x2. And then as you get better with it, you can go ahead and move on to a panel at a time, door at a time. But again, because it's a cool day, I'm not letting it sit too long. I do a back portion in this video. It may cut off a little bit, but it's still the same exact process. So you see I turn it on. I turn it up to 1500 RPMs. Spread the product out nice and evenly. The reason why you want to do it at a low RPM, because if you just start off high, you can get marks within the compound, and you can miss, and then you can burn through the clear coat because it's not enough coverage. And so what you want to do at the 1500, you want to slightly go over it. It doesn't matter if you overlap or not. This is just literally to spread the product out. And then as the video begins, and you want to start correcting, you go ahead and turn it up to about a 4.5 or a 5 on a Rupes polisher or Adams polisher. Whatever polisher brand you have, it has the numbers 1 through 6. Me, I have a Chemical Guys. It is by RPMs, and so I have to turn mine up to 4,500 to 5,000. This is safe to use if you are doing these sided, like the doors, and if you go over to chrome, it is safe. As you see here, I have no problem with butting up against the chrome at all. Actually, it helps to give it a little bit shine, get a couple of scratches off on the side. I didn't do the handles because they're just plastic chrome. They cost me like maybe $20 for maybe some new ones. And so I didn't bother hitting the handles at all. Honestly, they're in really good shape. The driver's door one is scratched up, but yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and just continue to go over them. If it is a customer's car, you do want to take care and tape them off because you don't want to risk scratching them. If they are newer cars, a lot of things on newer cars are a lot more delicate, aka cheaper. So you want to be careful, tape them off with masking tape, aka painter's tape. And then that way, as you're going over it, it hits the paint and not the door handles or the chrome or plastics you're working with. So same process here. Whenever you finish, when you turn off the polisher, you want to keep it on the paint, because if you take it off, you risk all that product flying back onto other panels you literally just wiped off, flying in your face. If you're in a shop, all over the shop, you don't want to do that. And so just keep it on the paint. Keep it moving a little bit, as you see that I just did. As it's getting ready to stop, and then once it comes to a complete stop, you can take it off the paint. You won't risk burning anything or flicking and getting your shop or work area messy. So here we move on to the back panel of the door, passenger side. Same exact technique, spread it out, and you go ahead and turn it up to 1500 to 2000 RPMs, 1.5 or 2. Spread the product out very evenly. You want to have an even coat because you don't want to miss anything, possibly hit a dry spot, burn through the paint clear coat, and now you got an expensive repair, or someone else will be very upset. This is a customer's car. So again, always start off with the 1500 to 2000 or 1, 2, or 2. That way you can get even coverage whenever you go to spread it. Even passes, again, 50 by 50 on each pass, overlapping each other. Keep the weight of the polisher pretty much is the only pressure that you need on the paint. Doing sides, again, it is kind of tricky. You just want to go ahead and just keep it pressed against the paint. Slight pressure, you don't want to put too much, and just make sure it's flat. You don't want to have it to where it's tilted a little bit, because then the pad can come off. Even though they are velcroed on, they do have a chance to come off, and then next you know, that's hard metal which is attached to, and then it can go and severely damage the paint. And so you just want to always make sure that you have it flat. Keep it flat on every surface that you're working on, and that way, you know, you don't have to run into those risks of anything coming off and paint getting damaged. Moving on to the back, it is rather tricky because especially on SUVs, as you see, I got where the license plate sit, it is pushed in a lot further than the rest of the paint, so you got a lot of grooves and angles that you got to be careful working with. Whenever it comes to doing the angles of trunks, whether it's side skirts, on the panels, especially if you're working on cars that have wide body kits, you want to be careful on the angles that you don't keep too much heat or pressure on those angles. You want to go over them very quick, very slight. You don't want to hold it over those angles because they are sharper. It creates a lot of heat quickly, a lot more fast than if you're doing a flat panel. So just make sure you move quick but efficient. That way you got full coverage and you don't see those scratches on those corners. And you just want to continue to make your passes as normal. Whenever you do those corners, make sure to angle the polisher accordingly. It's okay if you only got 25 to 50% of the pad on there. Just make sure you do have enough pressure that it won't fly off. Or as you're doing the back, you see me go over the tail lights. It is safe to use these on tail lights. Depending on how new the vehicle is, some tail lights are a lot cheaper than others as far as the plastic coating on them. You can't go over it, actually gets out a lot of scratches, swirl marks as well within the headlights. And so you can't go over it, brings back that shine, that gloss to them, makes it look brand new. And so just continue, you can do the same exact thing that you did on the paint as far as the tail lights and headlights. Headlights are a little bit different. You want to be careful because those are your main view of light, because those are the main source of light. And so what do you want to do? You want to be very careful not to strip the clear coat on the headlights. If you strip the clear coat on the headlights, you have to use sandpaper, sand them back down, get some more clear coat, polish them, put the clear coat on there, let that dry in good weather. So I would just say be very careful when it comes to doing the headlights. You don't want to take that clear coat off because it will be a headache redoing your whole headlights. Some headlights you have to take out because they're too small and hit with a polisher. But just make sure if you do have to do headlights, if you do headlight restorations, mark off the paint. That way you won't have to go back and do another paint correction on the parts that you hit with sandpaper, just to be on the safe side.
Ooh, just finished up. Took me roughly 6.5 hours to do so. Paint looks, it looks flawless. Still some imperfections due to rock chips just on the paint itself. Like you can't even tell that that's the hood until I go like that. These real rough chips, it's very smooth, so that's just embedded into the paint. From rock chips, very good finish that we have here. Absolutely came out phenomenal. I actually love it. Worth the 6.5 hours it took to do. Oh yeah, that looks so good. So you guys a whole wide shot of it. Yeah. Absolutely perfect, just look. I was able to get a good majority, but that was from a grocery cart hitting my car. I believe, no, I might have been when someone backed into my car at the YMCA, as you see from the, can't really see it, but, because it's too shiny. But, yeah, someone backed into my car when I was at the Y, took off. If you guys can see, that nice little hairline, deep embedded scratch that runs all along. I was able to mask it really good, but that was pretty much really about it. And of course, guys, polishing will never get 100% out of your paint. It's just to get off a lot of surface scratches and swirl marks. Just brings back that new finish to your car. Overall, man, I love it. Thanks for watching the channel. Hit that subscribe and that like button. Turn the notifications on. We'll see you on the next one.